Hey folks, I am out here in Spider Meadow with the new Durston Gear Kakwa backpack, and I'm out for just a night and figured I would give this new pack a try, see how it works out, and share some initial impressions. To be clear, this is first impressions only. I don't have obviously a lot of experience with this pack as it just came out this week. I've got maybe 7 miles on it right now with 12 to 15 pounds at best, and probably closer to 12 or even less. Let's see. First impressions. Overall, nice pack. I'm enjoying it. It is comfortable to wear. I like the shape, overall shape of the pack. It is conforming to the shape of your back pretty well. The aluminum stays curved in and towards the small of your back, so the whole backpack really rests right up against your pack, which is good for weight distribution. I find it a little bit sweaty compared to even like my Gossamer Gear, Mariposa, or Gorilla. Those have exterior pads, and I've got the higher ventilation pads in mine, and they're not known for being great for ventilation, but even those are noticeably more comfortable than this in terms of just that ventilation and how much you sweat. So that's something to be aware of. I don't find it a big deal. I don't sweat profusely, but I definitely noticed a bit of a difference. I think the trade-off in terms of how it conforms to the shape of your back is probably worth it in my mind. So I would give this +1 for that aspect. Let's see, the waist pack or the waist belt, overall really nice. Definitely prefer this type of arrangement on the waist belt. Lots of packs have this type of arrangement. I don't know why any pack actually doesn't. It just makes a whole lot more sense. The Gossamer Gears, by the way, do not, and it's my biggest complaint about those packs. Having this type of arrangement where the belt goes out to your buckle and then back again to where it tightens, it does two things. One is that it rearranges the direction of the strap that you're tightening so that you're pulling in towards your belly button instead of away, and that's just a much easier movement in terms of how you're pulling. But it also creates a bit of a pulley system, so it gives you more leverage, and you're able to just really crank down and get it tight, which you really need to do in order to carry that weight on your hips. Your hip belt here should be way tighter than a belt that you wear on your pants. You really want to crank those down. And on the Mariposa, honestly, I just can't do that very easily. So I definitely prefer that on the Durston. The pockets easily open and close while on the move with one hand. Love them. Love the fact that they've got the water-resistant zippers. I will often carry things in here, whether it's map or snacks, whatever, things that I don't want to get wet when it's pouring rain. And while these aren't going to be waterproof, they're going to do a pretty good job. Between the Ultra 200 fabric and that water-resistant zipper, that will go a long way, and I'm glad to see that. Other quick notes, the shoulder pads, fine, comfortable. I don't think nothing particularly special I'd write home about. The pockets that are on them, haven't quite figured out. It's not what I'm used to, so right now I'm not sold on them, but maybe I'll eventually get used to them. I think putting snacks in there will be good. I might end up reconfiguring and put my inReach in one of the pockets. That will save a little bit of weight, getting rid of the holder that I'm using right now. However, I tend to bring along a camera. I don't have it on this trip, but when I'm wearing a camera, I'll usually use a Peak Designs clip on my shoulder strap, and if I've got that there, that's the camera and the lens is going to get in the way. The pocket's going to be mostly useless for the most part, and at least in terms of accessibility. I might still use it to put a few things like chapstick and little things like that in there, but so far I'm not sold. Now, on my Gossamer Gear packs, I use a Gossamer Gear pocket holder that I put my phone in, compass, paper map, and usually a small Write in the Rain notepad and pen. And I really like that setup. If I transfer that onto this pack, I would just end up not using these at all. So I don't know if I'll end up removing them, end up figuring out that I like them and find other ways to reconfigure my pack and use it. I'm not too sure. That's one of the difficult things for me at the moment. I've got my gear and the way I use it pretty dialed in with my current system, so changing something like a backpack can be pretty significant. And I don't know that there's a better or worse way of doing things. It's just what you get used to and what you dial into. So jury's out on that one. Otherwise, I'm not sure about the pocket arrangement. And again, this might be, one of those things that you just have to get dialed in. This bigger pocket over here, currently I have my water filter in there and hygiene kit. Two things that I want pretty readily accessible while I'm hiking, in case I need them and I don't want to dig into my pack to get them. Now, maybe I could put the poles in there. There is a compression strap above that I can use then to hold the poles, and I bet that's what most people will end up doing. I'm not too sure. If I do that, then these other items go in perhaps this mesh area in the back. I don't know about that, and it'd be okay. Currently, I'm using it for a sweater. It was cold this morning, and I kind of like it, keeping it empty except for like stuffing it with a sweater. That again, I'm going to take it off while I'm hiking and don't want to open my pack. I'm just going to throw it in there. And if I'm throwing in there on top of other things, that's not ideal. So I'd prefer to keep my poles arranged kind of like I have them now. I've rigged this a little bit in an not necessarily ideal way, but what I've done is just taken a little bit of a strap. This is actually a camera strap, wrist strap for a camera, that I've cinched down, attached to one of these loops on the bottom, and I've got it cinched down to capture the tips of my poles. And then I've got a Velcro strap on the top attaching the poles to the Y strap that goes up and over the top of the pack. That's okay, but what I'd really like to see are these little loops in the corners be a little bit larger. That way I can attach other things to those loops, and I'd like to see more of them. There are one on each corner, and as it ships, the ones on the bottom aren't used, but they're small. And so if you do want to use them for something, there's not much that's going to fit into that loop. You're not going to get a carabiner in those loops. It's only large enough for a little bit of cord to fit through. And that could be fine. Like I could even put like a sleep roll on the outside with that loop, but it'd be so much easier if it was just a little bit bigger. And if it were a little bit bigger, then I could also fit through a proper holder, little pole bungee attachment through one of these and capture my poles right there on the corner. I still might be able to devise a way to do it with the existing system. It's just that little loop is so small, and there's barely enough room for two cords to be in there. And you'll see you've got this one compression cord, and then I have added another compression cord to each of the four corners. And ideally, there'd be another set of loops in the middle, and I would zig and zag that one more time. The only thing I really use that for is if I've got wet gear. If I've gone through a water crossing, I've got wet socks, I'm going to keep on hiking, but I want to swap my socks out and dry them off. Maybe it's a camp towel I want to dry off. I want a place where I can kind of hang them, spread them out a little bit so that the sun will hit them, rather than stuff them in the pocket and hope they dry all scrunched up. I prefer to just clip them and hang them onto a compression strap like that. So that's what's going on there. Otherwise, pretty good pack. I like the material. It's durable. It feels durable. And once I get a little bit more time with it on the trail and get it dialed in, I'll do a further follow-up report, and we'll see how it's going and see how it stacks up compared to the other packs that I regularly use. All right, I hope anyone finds that helpful, and if you've got questions, let me know. I'm going to be out here again next week, and I'll bring this pack with me again, and I may try a few other ideas. So if you've got other ideas or different ways to solve some of the problems I've mentioned, hit me up, let me know below, and we'll try it out next week, and we'll see how it goes. All right, take care, everyone.